Hey everyone, this is Grey Wizard Gaming. I'm Richard, and this week I am not talking about DC deck building. Okay, maybe I am just a little bit, guys, but not really. This week I am ranting, as you say in the title, about the number of players. And so we often have 5 players. That's problem number 1. 5 players is one more than a large number of these games behind me support. So that's a challenge, right? Because you want to play a fun game, and then someone extra shows up that week. Okay. So sometimes not even really extra. I mean, we have a 5th player. Okay. All right. We can make this work. We just, we won't play that game or that game. We won't play that game. And instead we'll play, this game. All right, that works. And then you have a 6th player show up. All right, guys. I think 6 players cuts down my choices for games at least in half. At least half of the games in this room do not support 6 players. And that's really depressing. It's a lot of the games I have that support 6 or more players are more complicated than the 4-person games. And I feel like a lot of the best balanced games are the 4 or less games. On the other hand, some games do not play well with 3 players, right? So you often do have that problem where they say like 2 to 4 players, but it doesn't play well until you have 4 players. And it's like, okay, I feel like they designed it for 4 players, and then they just made like additional rules to kind of like support 2 and 3 players, but they're not great. There's definitely a sweet spot for almost every single game. I am not a house rules person. I really am not. I do not normally like house rules, and I just feel like if we're so bored we're going to change up a game, then I will normally just say, why don't we just play a different game? There's not really a limit of different games to play. We can just play a different game. Well, my group has been wanting to play DC deck building quite a bit, and we had a 6th player, and I was like, you know what? Let's play with 6 players. Now, in this case, the primary limiting factors for 6 players in a DC deck building game is twofold. One, they don't have enough punches, vulnerabilities, and they kind of don't really have enough kicks and weaknesses necessarily for more than 5 players. That's problem number 1, except I have all these DC deck building games. So I just added, and I just made this up. Like I was just like, you know what, let's add 6 more kicks, because that seemed like the right ratio. So 6 more kicks. I don't know, maybe 5 more kicks, but it was, just like a small handful of kicks and a couple more weaknesses, not too many. And then I just pulled out enough punches and vulnerabilities so that we could build another deck. And we just played that way. That was a mistake, by the way, guys. It was a mistake. And I knew it was going to be a mistake, but we wanted to play. And this is the reason why it was a mistake, was because with so many people, 6 people, you have a lot more people playing attack cards. And those attack cards, often you have to discard to defend yourself against an attack. And most people aren't going to have more than 1 defend card per round. So what happens is basically everybody gets hit by like 2 or 3 attacks, because at most they blocked 1, and a lot of them blocked 0. So it was an equal badness, but it kind of slowed things down because a lot more people had either no cards left in their hand because they had to discard a bunch of stuff, or they had to fill up their deck with a bunch of garbage, which meant that certain people who had defense cards, they didn't mind. They didn't really have any problems. I played Booster Gold, who's a defense-based character, so I was actually having an okay time. On the other hand, some other people, they didn't have such a good time. And I did feel a little bit bad because I hate to give them a bad experience. And they didn't really understand that, there's a big stack of cards. But the reason why this is a 2 to 5 player is not because there's not enough cards. There's plenty of cards. The reason why is because there's just not a good balance mechanism. There's also less strategy because normally you can kind of you look and there's 5 cards to purchase. And so there's always at least one of the cards by the time it comes back to your turn that was there at the end of your turn. Typically. Because very few people can purchase more than one card per turn. So, yeah, it just takes away some of the strategy, becomes a little bit more luck-based. Honestly, I still had fun. I think most people still had fun. One person maybe didn't. And in general, it was a little bit more like a slog fest, which made me a little bit sad. So I want to know, how do you guys handle number of players? Have you ever just cheat? Basically, I don't know. I call it cheating. Some people might call it homebrewed. Have you guys just said, you know what? We're going to play with an extra player in Gloomhaven. We're going to play 2 players in this 3-person game, and we're going to make up a fake person that we vote on or something to play that, the third person. What do you guys do? How do you guys handle that? Well, I'm going to leave it there because I basically sometimes I post these rants and I really just want to see your guys' responses down in the comments below. So with that, I will see you next week.
Turn around, I can't see your face. Tell me, where did you go? Was it something I did, something I said that made it all fall down? Baby, I need to know, 'cause I'm losing my faith. And the more I give, the less I get.